What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. Today, we're going to talk to you guys about the standings in the AFC, a little bit of NFL football talk. Just got done doing a video for the Cavs. Hopefully, you guys will check that out. If you guys haven't, please subscribe. Make sure you leave likes on our videos, comments. We want to hear your guys' thoughts. But with that being said, Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I think that this is a nice switch up from just AFC North talk solely because the division or the conference, so to say, is very tight race. There really has not been a clear favorite like there has been in years past. So it's definitely interesting and fun to look at, fun to talk about, and fun to look at schedules. We talk about going 1-0, but I always look at, I look at the Ravens schedule 2-3 weeks, the Bengals schedule. I know they're playing the Jets this week, so that's pretty bad. And then obviously we have the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, the AFC has been, we talked about it a little bit before we started, a little abnormal. Typically, I think if you ask someone at the beginning of the season who would be leading the AFC in terms of, divisional rank and conference rank and all that, who'd have the number 1 and 2 seeds, you'd probably say Buffalo and the Chiefs. Well, Buffalo has their division as of right now, but the Chiefs are actually outside of the playoff picture right now, currently sitting at 3-4. Still haunts us to this day that the Browns couldn't have made them 2-5, but it is what it is. But a lot of close, divisions in the AFC. Particularly the North, which is, your Cleveland Browns, the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals, and a little bit of the AFC West with the Raiders leading 5-2, Chargers 4-2, Chiefs 3-4, and Broncos 3-4. Just kind of a weird start to the AFC season. So, Jeff, what are your thoughts on that right now?
I think it's good because it seems like it's a tough, standings to gauge. It seems like the bottom tier teams they're going to stay bottom tier probably the whole year. I just don't think some of those teams are ready. The Texans, Jags, and Jets, they're pretty much all but, done for, barring something crazy to happen. The Dolphins, I would say the Dolphins are, we've seen them make late season pushes in the past, but they're probably unlikely to do anything 1-6. What's been interesting is that teams look so bad sometimes, and then the next week, like they either look so good and then they look so bad. Like I know that the final score of the Chiefs game didn't tell the whole story against Washington 2 weeks ago, but then they get destroyed by Tennessee. Not even competitive game. I wouldn't even say Tennessee's a great team. I think that the Bengals are interesting at the top because they've played this consistent football where it's like, they didn't play great against the Packers and they lost that game. And then this is the first week where they finally, seem to turn it on and they destroyed the Ravens.
Well, their only 2 losses come off of field goals. And to be fair, Green Bay, in that Green Bay game, they had ample opportunities to, kick field goals. And that was a show in itself. But the Bengals you're right. They've played a very good season so far and have been I'd say the biggest surprise outside of the Chiefs probably being as bad as they are, which still 3-4, they have plenty of time left. The Bengals have just been great. There's not really a lot to, distinguish from their games in terms of what do they do bad? What do they do poorly? Outside of that, you're right. There have been games this season. You watch the Chargers come out and pull a comeback win on us where they score 47 some points. And then the very next week they go to Baltimore and Baltimore blows them out. And then Baltimore hosts the Bengals and the Bengals blow them out. It's really interesting. And it's like really hard to get your feeling for some of these teams and those stances. Cause it's like, all right, well, the Browns got blown out against the Cardinals. Okay. They come back and they play a competitive game against the Broncos. All right. Well, what are the Chargers going to do coming out of this bye week? What are the Ravens going to do, coming out of this loss? What are the, Bengals going to do against the Jets? Obviously, all questions that we'll have answers to at the end of this week, but nonetheless, very, interesting to look at as, a fan, and especially for someone in the AFC North like us, where we're currently a game behind the leaders, and we're going on a stretch where we're going to face 2 division rivals, Steelers first up, then the Bengals. Those, Jeff and I talked. Those games almost cost triple not even double anymore. They're almost triple with how good this division is. We used to be the team in the past where you look at the schedule as a Ravens, Bengals, or Steelers fan, and you're like, 2 easy wins in the division. Let's move on from that. We were hoping that would be the case with the Bengals, but no longer so. What's your thoughts on just that and how it plays into the AFC, Jeff?
Here's the thing. Regardless of if you love the NFL, if you hate the NFL, you have to admit it's almost preposterous how glaringly great that the NFL is at putting out a product, because me and you, this is something we talked about, because I did not like our schedule this year. I really didn't, as far as who we played, who we're playing in the NFC, and how it was set up.
Right.
But it seems like every year, and I'd say in the last 4 or 5 years, it's trending more toward this. It seems like the last week of the season, the NFL, Roger Goodell, they love having the AFC North have major implications the last week of the season, it's fun. Yeah. Could be nerve-wracking, but it's like we're 7 games in. We haven't played a division team. You look at the AFC, the 1 seed to the 8 seed is all separated by 1 game max. The 1 seed has two losses. The Steelers have 3 losses at the 3 seed, or at the 8 seed. We have 3 losses at the 7 seed. So agree with you. The division games, and we're 2-2 in the division. We have wins over Houston and Denver, and we have losses to the Chargers and the Chiefs. So it's like, or no,
conference.
Yeah. So we have 2 wins in conference, and we have two losses in conference. So it's like we have a clean slate in the AFC. Those AFC games are big. We saw that come into play last year when it came to the playoff spot and the extra playoff spot. So got to take care of business at home. And then we could worry about going on the road against a good Bengals team the week after. But the NFL is basically saying you have to go above 500 in your division. You have to try to get 4 wins. If you have 3 wins, the playoffs might be tough if you were going 500 in your division, the AFC.
Yeah, and almost, we talked about how important those division games are. The conference games are, very important as well, just because, dropping a game to Arizona, all right, that's fine. They're outside of conference, but you drop games to the likes of Kansas City and the Chargers, and those are teams that you could be in a battle with towards the end of the season for that 7th seed. So it's very interesting to look at. Obviously, we'll have more to talk about in our preview for this Steelers game. But Jeff, before we get out of this video, you got anything else to say?
No, you're correct. And it makes those random road games, like we talked about this last year in some of our videos. So like, okay, we're on the road against the Lions, and then we're on the road against New England, I believe, or the Lions are at home. But it's like, if you lose to the Lions and beat New England, optically that looks really bad, because kind of like how we lost to the Jets last year. It's like, okay, that looks really bad because Detroit is one of the worst teams in the league per their record. They're really not that bad, but at that point in the season, they're probably going to be mailing it in. But it's like, you'd rather win the game at New England, because if it's a tiebreaker for the 6th or 7th seed, then you'd rather have the AFC win. So a lot of moving parts, down the stretch, I'm going to start memorizing everyone's schedule just to see what's going on weeks to come.
Absolutely. And obviously, like I said, we'll be bringing you guys a preview and a little bit of an update for the Brownies here soon. But with that being said, if you guys haven't already, like I said at the beginning of the video, we're going to be coming out with a lot more stuff, Cavs based, Browns based. Maybe we'll get into the Guardians/Indians a little bit later on. But with all that being said, please subscribe, leave a like on the video. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are so far in this season. If you're a, AFC fan or a fan of any team in the AFC, let us know what your thoughts are so far in terms of the standings. And with that being said, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.